Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures That Outperform. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Terry Mays, on the final episode of the 6th episode series on how to create an intelligent hybrid work culture that works. And so now we're on the last step, which is how do you continuously measure, monitor, and improve this hybrid work culture? Because, things change, work changes, leaders change, the pace of things change. You're going to have to continuously measure, monitor, and improve your culture. And so how do you go about doing that? It's
Yeah.
actually a very, very important question.
It's
Now,
not a
this is,
set it and forget it kind of thing where you just set up all
yeah,
these rules and then don't go back and look and see and evaluate. Is this really working?
that was a blast from the past, Tara. Popeil, set it and forget it, right? Wasn't that one of
Yeah.
those products on TV?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, so if you missed any of the prior episodes, these are the ones we went through. Feel free to go back. It's in a very important series. The first one we talked about what psychology is driving leaders to force people back to the office, and then write down the whole series. And you can really create a great hybrid work culture, and you can make it a work culture that is a benefit to the company. And so, if you're interested, please go back and look at those. But, if you want to win in the marketplace, you must first win in the workplace. That's what this is about. Lead from anywhere, work from anywhere, hire from anywhere. That's competitive advantage. I don't care what anybody says. That's the world we're in. You got to be able to do that. So you must do this and you must do it well. This is how you win in the workplace. And that means you're then going to win in the marketplace. And if you're going to build this winning, unbeatable hybrid work culture, you got to focus on measurement, improvement, and ROI. This has got to give you a better ROI. That's why you're doing it. You're not just improving the lives of your people, you're improving the company and how it performs. That's really what this is all about.
Yes. And we put a lot of emphasis on the returns, but don't
Mhm.
just think about the returns as financial returns. There's a lot of intangible things that come from having a great workplace that you can't really put a dollar sign on. So don't just focus your attention on money when you're thinking about ROI.
Right. Best place to work. Being viewed in the market as a best place to work. Having a website about how you're really dealing with the millennial and, Gen Zs, and creating a workplace they're going to love. So you're attracting the best people. That's really what it is all about. And Terry's right. These are intangibles that are very, very important. And so look, everybody's super busy. However, don't overlook this. This is important. You need to measure, you're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. We all have this list to the right, or to the left. So many
Yeah.
things are on our list. There's always so many things to get done. But if you take time and prioritize what's really important, this is one of those big rock things that you really do have to put in first.
You do. And you're going to have to pick tools. There's tons of them available. Some people run Microsoft Viva, allows you to do all sorts of measurement very easily. A lot of people have that tool. We build a tool, People Productive, for measuring culture so you can unlock the full talent potential. Look, just pick a tool. You got to get data. And so you're going to have that available. You don't want to overuse it. You don't want to create survey fatigue, this constant measurement. It's not that important. Things don't change that quickly. You just need to have your finger on the pulse of what's happening over time. And so, what we recommend is, delegate this, get the data, get a team that's going to help really drive improvement in hybrid work. The people it matters to, all the workers, not just a couple leaders on the top with their microphone talking to everybody. Get the folks down below to own this, because they're the ones delivering the value. They're getting the real work done, building things, doing stuff, supporting customers. That front line is what matters, and make sure they're happy and they're very engaged in this.
Yeah. You want people that care about the people to do this work, that care about the work. So when you're working and looking for improvements, if you don't really care about improving, then it's going to be difficult, right? So it's going to be hard for you to find things to improve if you don't really care about this type of activity. So make sure you're putting the right kind of people on this task. It's not just, anybody can do it. It's not one of those tasks. You really need somebody that cares, that
Right.
cares about people, and that is really going to give a fair evaluation to the processes and the way things are done. And they want to make sure that people are heard. So the last thing you want to do is ask for feedback and people start giving you feedback and then you start critiquing their feedback,
Oh, no.
or you're, bothered that they gave you the feedback.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't
you
ask if
ask
you don't
for
want to hear the truth, right?
right. You ask for the feedback. You can't control what people say. So do
Yeah.
you want people to give you honest feedback, or do you want them to just nod their heads and say yes to everything that you say? And what you really want is a team of people working on improvements that's really willing to listen to the hard stuff, because sometimes it's not fun. It's not, things aren't going well and you need to hear some hard stuff, but you need people that care enough to listen and do something about it.
Yeah. And, they're not leaders, but these people can have a lot of influence. You want to take people who are respected, who volunteer for this, encourage them to join. If somebody doesn't want to do it, don't force them on. That's just not
Right.
ever going to work. But it's an honor. This is an important team. You've got to trumpet to the organization who these people are. This is very important. They're going to be going around to get feedback. They may be following up on open-ended questions and surveys to see what people really meant about stuff.
Mhm.
And the first thing to do is to charter it. If you don't know how to build a charter, get a template, build a charter. What are the roles and responsibilities? How often do they meet? How do you control membership? How long are people on this for? Um, and how do they communicate? So do it formally. This is a real thing. It's very important. It's something you should be proud of as an organization. And this is a simple way to do it. Start, stop, continue. What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? What should we continue doing? And that's how you improve hybrid work. It's this continuous improvement all the time, every quarter, making changes that improve things. And you run your town hall meeting, and that team gets up to present what the findings are. And so this is what we've heard. So they're representing all the workers, all of them,
Yeah.
everybody.
Whether or not you get the recommendations, people always have a whole running list of things that we should stop doing. So you might as well go ahead and start asking them what they think and take their advice. There are things that we do just because we've always done them. Are those things still adding the value that they added when we first started?
Yeah. What should everybody start, stop, and continue doing? Very important. It's simple. Don't boil the ocean. Work on a few things, continuously improve, make it better. And, you want to make sure people are heard. And so, this is a perfect example of a stupid way to go about getting input. You need people who are intelligent about this, but you
Yes.
got to get good data. And maybe if you had the right data, this person wouldn't have ended up on the ledge so stressed out at work. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, you got to read your people, right? So, where was the leader this whole time that the guy's like opening the window and climbing out?
Yeah.
He's all the way out on the ledge. Like, where was the leader? Where were his coworkers to help talk him back into the window? As they see him standing there opening the window. All of those steps are just, we're making fun of this, but there's so many steps and there's so many people that are feeling like this guy out on the ledge at work.
Yeah.
Stressed out, and they just need somebody to care. They need somebody to notice them and say, hey, are you okay? How can I help? And not just, go about, this is the process. This is the process. Sometimes the process is the problem. And so you really do have to talk to people and find out what's bothering them. How can you make things better so that people are not on the ledge? That's what you don't want.
You don't want it. Watch our series. You can keep people off the ledge, no doubt about
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
And, we spent a whole series of 6 episodes on how to build hybrid work that works. So we're moving on now. We're expanding into the greater world, which is how to build a culture without walls. Partnering is so important in this world. Everything is super complicated. There's lots of partners with expertise. How do you integrate them into this hybrid culture to create a hybrid culture without walls that works? And so I
Yes.
hope you could join us for that. We're going to be starting that next week. And this will be a series as well. We're going to cover a number of things, but I'm not going to give it away today. I'm just not going to do it.
It's going to be a secret.
So anyway, we're here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Hope you could join us for the next episode. You take care.
Yes. Bye for now.